Hello everyone. In this video we will carry on looking at the building and development of my MCP server that is called Project Flow. And basically we are going to work on improving it. As you can see, I've done some work in the background to fix some issues with the card visual appearance. And then we will carry on that work in here. So just to catch everyone up to speed, Project Flows is basically an open source MCP server that helps you to manage your projects, tasks, and now epics as well. And it's built around the idea of context engineering, where you use agents to help you to create your tasks with some background prompting to make sure that you've got all the necessary information. In here we've got only description, but in a second we will actually work with that specific epic that is designed to further consolidate the task card components. So before I've done the work in here to consolidate that to that beautiful card that you see, basically each component, like basically the epic, then let's have a look at task epic. This was two separate cards. I worked in the background to consolidate these two into one card, so they basically visually work better. You know, they're equally the same, as well as, you know, that again, the nested child card, because of some reason when vibe coding or context coding, that was created as a separate entity. So now we consolidated everything on the task list page or project management page into one single card. Probably needs some little bit more work, but at the end of the day, you know, we've got one single card that can be now, you know, worked on and improved, rather than many separate entities. But we do have another page. You know, we've got task list where we've got basically tasks, epics, projects on the side. I mean, if I would select all tasks, which is really misleading because that's supposed to be projects, I will need to fix it. Actually makes sense because it displays tasks, so never mind, but it kind of should be all projects. Then, as you can see, we've got, you know, all projects list in here as projects, and then again we've got epics underneath the project, and you can go down into specific task. Obviously this this has no child task matching to the correct filter. So if I remove the filter, now we can see basically 3 layers nesting in here. So you can basically explore the 3 layers that we have. Now, if we switch on now to the task board view, where you've got more Kanban style cards, I want to make sure that this card basically looks the same as the cards we've got on the task management view. So I want to obviously make sure that, you know, this looks the same. Obviously our title, the description is basically using the same card as here, just less compact. I don't think I want to use the nesting in there. I'm kind of thinking, you know, how am I going to to tackle that in the board view, but for now I'm going to focus on bringing everything into one single card, so there's less maintenance involved in the future, and obviously it's better if they look if they look the same, a part of management, the having everything uniform across your application always helps. So I've got that epic in here. As you can see, that epic has basically a lot of things already completed. So we've got a fixed visual imbalance in the card and page list. So basically that is some of the tasks within that epic that I already implemented behind the scenes. But now I've adjusted a little bit that epic to basically consolidate this card together. So one thing you notice is that on the task list page we have sliding functionality. I mean, if you I'm just going to move here, select only drafts because I don't need the completed ones to be seen, but at the moment as in doing, I can take it back to backlog by just sliding left or right, so it's draft, backlog and everything else. So it basically is nice functionality for this specific view task list to move from one stage to another. Then on the task view we've got different functionality. It's basically to drag and drop. Now I want to keep the same card but preserve the functionalities on different pages to work as well. So if you see in here, the epic was created to basically analyze what components we've got involved. So that's all part of the prompt. So when you prompt to create an epic and you explain what to do, and actually if you're really interested, consolidate, you can see the iterations that I've done from here. Actually this is updating the epic to make sure that it works well. So you burn a lot of credits to basically create the epic and your requirement, but at the same time you've got view, you can review it, you can make sure that it actually read through it, it does what you want it to do. Then you can edit it and make sure that the small things that you need to change are changed, or you can connect it as an MCP. And as you can see over here, I've got my windsurf open, and in the windsurf I've connected project flows as my MCP server, and I can say things like update epic, and then it will go and do the research and update basically the epic or task or whatever. So, and this is useful because if you using Claude Code, I mean I'm using Claude Code very I've got like a basic Claude license which I pay, I think it's £18 or £15, I can't remember how much exactly, but it's the lower tier subscription that doesn't allow you to use like Opus and things like that. And then I found already that quite often if I do a lot of, let's say, normal vibe coding, I get through my credits very quick. So having the extra agent that is hooked up to the same system and helps you create and tailor those tasks is really helpful. Because now at this stage I could go either to Claude and ask to get my epics or epic and then create the tasks. I can still use WinServe and do that, or I could even go to Codex and do it in there as well. Now that's another beauty of having application like project flows, MCP server. Like I can connect it to Codex, I can connect it to Gemini CLI, I can connect it to WindServe, Cursor, anything at the same time. And quite frankly, I can even connect it to applications like Claude Desktop, and in fact I do. And some of the initial creation of epics tasks is a lot better to do in there, specifically if you do not want your task to have the context of the files at the initial stages. So if you want to do some research on internet websites to analyze something, some approach, or even create project epic, anything, you can do the initial phase in the nicer, more user-friendly UI, and then from there you can basically come into any other either IDE or CLI tool and carry your work in there. So it's nice and easy to switch between different tools. But having said that, let's basically go back and split our epic to basically split our epic into the three tasks that I kind of arrived with. So the first task will be created to remove the legacy sidebar task card. Then we want to implement hooks for sliding functionality. Basically, as I show you, we've got one card with the sliding and the other one with drag and drop. So as I don't want that to be basically part of the base artifact, like unified entity card, I just want the visual bit to be there. I want to isolate those functionalities as they too distinct and to be called when needed for whatever page they need to be called. So let's basically go to start new session, and I will say get epic and get epic $510. I could basically put everything into one prompt, but sometimes it's just nice to basically, let it understand first, break it down into smaller steps. And now I'm going to say create tasks. For this epic. So as you can see, it's doing more research, kind of, hoping it is going to not just use the data from the epic itself, but at least it's got, idea, but it needs to obviously go and do more research to make sure that it's creating the tasks that are richer than what we provided here as a kind of guidelines in those epics. So I kind of don't mind wasting credits as long as, we've got a very tailored task that later hopefully can be executed with one shot prompt given to Claude Code. And as you can see, we've got summary here, and now let's go off and look at this epics. So we've got, this tasks. That is a little bit off. So what do we have? First one, we've got remove legacy slidable task card. So that should be very easy. And now, as you can see, we've got basically the description. Okay, so now we kind of got this. I'm kind of inclined, do I want to waste credits? Because it seems like a simple task. So maybe actually on that occasion, I'm just going to copy, as you can see, execute task 524. Kind of thinking, is it maybe enough to just use Gemini? But never mind, let's actually use Claude Code. Let's, as we've got in the title, let's just use Claude Code. Right. We got some error in here. Okay. Right, so it's kind of trying to rebuild it. I'm going to actually ask it not to, because we have the server running and we don't need to verify anything. But we've got the confirmation that it has been removed. Now, remove legacy. Okay, so I'm going to can you ask it why it investigate why it failed to update. So let's explain this error. Let's explain this. Okay, so where do we have did it update it? So basically we do have an explanation, unsuccessful legacy. Right, let's refresh it quickly and see. Okay. Well, obviously it didn't move it. Okay, update to task to review. Okay. Okay, and as you can see, it put it into review. So yeah, that's fine. So we got that task done. Later, obviously, I'm going to review it properly, but as you can see, it just went and removed it. So that was easy task. I mean, you can probably do it without having extra, prompt. You could figure that out, but the idea is that, you've got basically the epic on the high level, and you kind of plan, and the AI helps you to plan what to do in what order. Now, implement hook for sliding functionality. Now, let's do this, copy it. I'm going to basically clear my Claude and reopen it again. And now I'm going to say execute task 25. Well, it's failing to... Right. There must be some issue with the execution workflow, which I need to have a look at. Basically, let's do it actually. Let's create the task on the side. So create the task in to fix the execute task workflow. It looks like it's failing every time when it's trying to move the task from one stage to another. So it's failing at moving the task to doing, and I imagine it will fail as well to move the task to review. Create task to fix this functionality in the execute task workflow. So there was a lot of mumbling, but even with all that mumbling, I'm hoping the task that will be created will have some nice structure to it, which we will find out in a second. And as you can see, it's investigating first. It found workflow tools, which is fine because that's where we have our workflow task. So, right. I believe it's going to create the task. What do we have here? I'm actually going to just, on this side, ask it to basically carry on its work. Right, we've got our task. Oh, right. I think we're replacing some stuff in the files. Yes, unified task card. Hopefully it will be implemented in a way that it's going to work absolutely fine. Right. Nope, still not working. So okay, looks like it's doing a lot of changes, which is quite often concerning. Right. Right, so we're back online, as you can see. I'm actually going to ask it to run the type check. npm run. I don't want to run npm run because I've got already my server running in dev mode, so that should pick up all the changes. And now the moment of truth. So I slided the card, it moved it into doing. Let's put it in the review because it apparently thinks it's done. Now I want to see that task 527 it's in the review. I want to refresh it and it stayed in the review. So I'm going to say that this task is completed successfully. So we've got we've got entity card now that is use slidable, and as you can see, there's huge chunk of code that was removed from this file, and now it's been put into another file use slidable in here. Okay, I'll probably need to spend some more time reviewing that file. I've still got some legacy in here. Maybe that legacy is actually, well, it's not legacy because I can see now in here the stage completed is showing the old buttons. So obviously that's something that we want to add into the epic to make sure that this card is not displaying it anymore. But yes, so we've got 270 lines, which is quite nice. And then we've got the main card that now has, how many lines? Yes, around 279. So technically we did increase some stuff, you know, because we now have two files, 280 lines, let's call it, and then 270 from what we had in the past, 409. So we increasing the code base, which is not always good, but then kind of from the context management and everything else, this should be often easier for the agent to work on, specifically if we ever want to focus back on the visual aspect on the card, because now the sliding functionality is isolated from the from the basically card component itself. At this stage, actually, I should have done it earlier, create manually task. So that's in the review, implement a hook for sliding functionality. So we've got that done. So I need to first manually probably move it to done. Okay. First of all, let's create the branch for it, which I should have done earlier. I'm just going to generate quickly comment and put it in there. And now I'm just going to cancel that off. Just going to not clear it. I will cancel everything off, clear it like that. Open the Claude again. And now I've got another task that needs executing. So it's implement the hook for dragging and dropping. So now I've got that. And now it should basically implement the second phase or third phase of the task, which is replacing that card. Well, first creating the hook for drag and drop, and then replacing that card with our new card. And let's see what it's going to do actually. I will fair to update task. Actually, let's go consolidate card. Okay, so we've got all of that in here. Create new, use druggable. Right, we've got everything. Yes, we need to allow the changes let's hope the board view is updated to use unified entity card instead of task card. Yes, so we've got a lot of criteria, unified entity card. Right, what do we have? Use druggable, nice. Fine, yeah, it's doing its magic. Right. We still cannot see the change. Soon we should be able to see the difference in terms of styling of the card, hopefully. Oh, okay. So I believe it probably started to replace the task column. Oh yes, we're removing task card, and task column is basically what it's going to use. Right, let's so we run in lint. Okay, right, clear that, run MCP. Oh, okay. Kind of not bad. Right. So, the drag and drop functionality is not working properly, and let me just refresh that. Okay. Okay, the card looks good, which is fine. It kind of done what I wanted it to do in terms of, like, you know, we have the card looking like that. The drag and drop functionality is definitely not working correctly. So I am actually going to, at this stage, just right. For fun, I'm going to go to let's go back here and open our task. I just need to remember right. So we've got task 5 to 6. Review implementation of task. Look at current uncommitted changes in task. Right, let's create new branch because we are in the old branch again. Okay, so we've got 6. Let's have a look what Claude, what Codex CLI is going to find about it. It's quite interesting. I have used switch recently between these two branches, and it's interesting. Sorry, not between these two branches, between these two technologies, between Claude Code and Gemini and the Codex CLI, and I find that they work well and complementing each other. Sometimes it's just figuring out which one is better at what. And I found that sometimes reviewing Claude Code's implementation is quite helpful to be done by Gemini CLI. Not Gemini CLI, the Codex CLI. I mean, Gemini CLI is another story. I am using it as well, and it's really, another story. Sometimes good, but sometimes can be terrible. I frankly haven't figured out yet just how to leverage it best, and I'm using Gemini CLI totally free, but in very limited capacity. But sometimes I test it, both with execution or reviewing or doing other stuff, or even creating the tasks. Right. Okay. And it actually figure out, within the implementation, what is causing all that. So I am going to literally I am going to take that and go back to Claude and paste it in and see what it's going to do and how it's going to fix it. So it's quite bad because I didn't really, I skimmed through it. I didn't really read it. So it might break a lot of stuff. Let's actually have a look. You should be reading things like that, making sure it's not doing some crazy stuff. Hey. Right. What is it actually doing? Okay, that seems to be working better now. Right, we still got some, area to improve here in terms of looks and feels. Okay. Right, so, and what do we have here? Do we have anything about this dragging? Right, so what are we using? So, okay. Kind of, what is it doing? Okay. What we're using is slidable. Right. Are we so are we using right, but this was okay. So this was the requirement where meant to use it there. Right, so I think I made a probably mistake. I let it decide probably what to do. So that is option A. Okay, so we implemented option A rather than option B. Yes, right. That's probably my bad. Yes, so we're back to option B. That makes sense. So probably it was my fault because it implemented, there was two options and I copied everything and I asked it to do it. And now it's going back to option B, which is more something that basically, you know, I wanted it to do on the beginning. So we've got that in doing, we've got that in review, put that to doing, let's refresh it. It didn't work. Okay, so nope, it's still not working. So all tasks, task manager. Completed. I refreshed it and it is still incompleted. Right. Okay. Right. There is definitely some work visually to be improved here. And why do we have the slide? Oh yeah, so that's the problem. Okay, so there's few fixes that need to happen, but you know, it's not perfect. Probably a lot of it was not explained. And we can fix it before we move on from this task. So let me actually fix the biggest problem. It works perfectly fine. I can drag and drop nicely now from one column to another, let's say from review to doing. However, it looks like it's not persisting. So when I drag it from review to doing on any task card and I refresh the page, it looks like it's not persisting the data because the card is back into the same stage. So let's wait for the transcribe to finish. What is going on? Right. Right, let's try again. Everything looks good. The only problem remaining is the fact that when I drag and drop card from one stage to another, the card kind of stays in the new position or new column or new stage. However, after I refresh, it is going back to previous stage. This means that it's not updating the data on the backend. Can you fix it? Make sure you preserve the current functionality that doesn't refresh entire page after you move the card between the stages. This is very important because quite often when I fix something, most of the agents would just default to refresh entire page for whatever reason, to make sure that the stage persists. How can you see that? Perfect, I can see from the documentation that, right, so update documentation. We have to use right, so update object is a legacy. We have legacy code somewhere within the application, UI application. It looks like it handles update object and create object in some places. That is a legacy code MCP tool that was replaced by create task, create project, create epic, and corresponding update task, update epic, update project tools. Create task to make sure we review the UI code base and replace all those code legacies with the updated tools. So see, we need to make sure we use only update task. Let's create a task here to make sure we remove that, and we go update task. Only ever. Can be deleted. Can be deleted from the code. So that's quite interesting then. Okay. Oh, it's actually, okay. It's actually creating task, it's investigating, searching, boom, 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 boom. So that's actually quite good. Right, I've seen over there that it basically mentioned that it is, oh, fuck. Right. Um, um, let's continue this one. Okay, so looks it seems to work. It seems to work, but it looks like you have broke the way the cards are updated. I specifically ask you to make sure the page, the entire page is not refreshing every time you drag the card on the task or page, but it seems that now it is. It was not doing it before we change the implementation. Okay, so let's it's creating. Right, what is it doing in here? Did it create the task? It's still analyzing. Okay, list object. Okay, failed. Right, it failed most likely. I think I'm probably doing a lot more here than I should. At this stage, I haven't editor. WinServe, let's do MCP, MCP. MCP. Right, let's refresh this guy, go back. Right, this is a little bit annoying. Right, it is. No. Let's create the task again. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Right, I am going to go ahead and do this. Discard all of it. Discard all of that. Clear it. And go back to here. And basically start the process again. Copy this. Claude. Try to implement it again. Oh. Okay, we're doing something here. Let's accept all in here and see what it's going to do. Use draggable, nice. Ooh. I don't want all this memory. Did we actually create that? No, this one we need to implement. Okay. Can you create task? Right, I'm going to go through exactly the same process, but this time around. Codex. I am not going to fix so many things at the same time and just create more tasks to deal with that later. Okay, so that's nice. Let's go back to Claude. It's still working. Well, you shouldn't be really moving stuff to complete it, but fine. Okay, so what is going on? Right, so analyze. Analyze the task 5 to 6 and branch uncommitted changes. Recommend improvements. Right, it looks like it actually has done worse job than before. I am going to just clear and restart the dev server. Okay, well this works. Drag and drop doesn't. Okay. Well, I can see some problems already. Kind of done like a worse job than ever. The drag and drop functionality is not working. Oh, I didn't ask there. Okay. right, this was the get task 526. Yes. No, just redo your recommendations. Well, we know what's not working, but let's Codex figure it out. Drag and drop. Oh, you're actually implementing. Okay. Okay. What are these? Something. Right. Okay. So some of it has been fixed. Right. Okay, so the drag and drop looks different than... Actually, if I look at what... drag and drop. Drag and drop is not working correctly. Make sure we use new file and this functionality works the same as in. So let's have some conversations. Right. vibe coding / context engineering is still quite difficult. Okay, unified identity card, that's fine. Right, it looks like, right, there is still some visual differences between what the drag and drop looked like in the past and it is now. So let's try to fix that. Nice. This is a lot nicer. And now it's broken. Oh no. Oh no, it's all gone. Oh no. Okay. I think this could have been something that was persisting, so I'm going to actually check if that problem wasn't there, because I haven't used the cards for some time. So interesting. Right, so we've got main. Let's close it. Let's first do this. It looks a lot better now. It was in one shot. I had to basically go back and do it again. I think actually codecs, although sometimes helpful, sometimes it's not exactly, because on this occasion it kind of started to implementing something that looked a lot different, kind of out of scope. I think it meant well, but it did not deliver that well. Now I've got that sorted. I'm going to go back to task 2025. We have this. Okay, so that is persistent issue. That is a problem. It kind of was fixed in task manager, but I don't think it's working properly here. It might be legacy issue from the last time when I was using basically or changing the way the MCP tools working. Now I am going to leave it as that implementation. Ooh, well, that is something unexpected. $25 and $26. Right, so that is unexpected and it's a little bit annoying. Because right, okay, looks like the change have broke the cards on task list page and changed the looks of the card. This was not in scope. So let's have a look. Interesting. Drag and drop. Right. It looks like that is not what I envisage it to do. And again, it didn't do it properly, even worse. It broke stuff. Interesting. I am going to cancel this out and I will have to do it again. Clear. Move back to right, I'm going to commit it. Move back to branch test 525. Now I'm going to delete branch, and we need to start all over again, which is rather annoying. So now everything works. Right. It works. Let's get this guy and implement him again. Clear. Let's look at Claude. Clear. Claude again. Right. I know the execute will fail. Need to fix that. New branch task 526. Right, I'm going to edit the acceptance criteria because it's not done. Okay, reset the acceptance criteria. It's not done. Right. It's not really completed. Okay. Okay, so we're reading that. Right, I am going to trust you to implement this again. I know from the first implementation that there is some duplication of functionality inside task or columns. Well, I think that's where it sits, so this should technically be removed. Okay. Right. Still doing it. Okay. Right, this is really this is working, this is still working. I will ask codecs to say get task 256 or 526. Review uncommitted changes in branch 526, branch task 526, advise on progress and improvements. What is missing? What is not working correctly? Do not execute. Just review. So let's see what it's going to come up with again. I can see straight away the implementation is not perfect. The drag and drop is not working at all. No, so okay. So run the commands. Run the commands. The command to get all you need. I asked to just review, do not fix, do not try fixing. In the meantime, shall I just ask, looks like drag and drop. Drag and drop is not working. Can you make sure it works in the new file in the same way as it was in the old implementation. So the good thing is that almost 100% of time it goes as far as replacing the task cards. There's always some glitches. Maybe still the task is too big for it, but you know, who knows? So where is the problem here? Okay. How come It's an interesting pattern. Okay. It looks like kind of that was this time the only issue that was there. But hey, we'll see in a second, I guess. Okay, that seems to be a lot better. Well, it seems okay. Okay, so unified card. Okay, so okay, fine. So okay, fine. Right. Okay, fine. You said it works exactly the same as it was in the task card. Now the problem is that the functionality is contained within task column. We want that functionality to be moved from task column to the hook that we originally asked you to create. So basically use draggable should be the hook. You need to still follow original requirement. Now this is quite funny. The hallucination is right. Right. Let's just right. So I got task column. Right. So I think, right, what do we have here? Task column is right. Okay, why are you not working? Why is it? Okay. Okay, but okay, so it's not. Looks. It's back to the same place it was. Okay, fine. Yeah, but it looks like it's broken again. Again. Can you fix it so it works as it was using the hook, not code inside task column. This seems to be like a issue hard to resolve. Hopefully this is going to solve it. Okay. Still not working. Not working. The card is only twisting, not allowing to move from one column to another. Yes, this works. And we finally got it kind of working. Okay. So, this was a painful experience. It took me 2 hours to deliver on that, but it kind of was worth it, I guess. Right, I'm going to end this session with a success, although we had 3 attempts to basically do it. So context engineering / vibe coding is alive and well, I believe, but it's still not easy. Whoever was watching, thank you for watching, and I will